microphone on scene as well.
Hello.
There we go.
I'm back. Hi, Norfolk. Can we have another clap? Let's do that again, shall we? Hello, Norfolk. It's so good to see you all. It's like we're a warm friend rather than a cold friend. How is everyone? You all right? Yeah. That's a bit more. You okay? And let's have another kind of general cheer. And an ooh. A bit more of an ooh, like a ooh. A bit camp. Excellent. There are all of my, that's me, all in a couple of sounds. Should we get some people on stage? I would like to ask if you could put your hands together in a clapping motion. Oh, thank you so much, thank you. Put your hands, please, together for Sylvester McCoy, Sophie Aldred, Peter Davison, and Nicola Bryant. Hi everyone, I'm so sorry, we've got two mics here and we're going to have to pass them around for a gentle conversation. Welcome to Norfolk for those who haven't been before, and welcome back to Norfolk for a couple of you that have been before. How is everyone?
Alive! Just about. We've got some Blu-rays that have come out and some Blu-rays that are coming out. How exciting! It's so exciting, as you might be able to tell. I'm a little bit of a Doctor Who fan, but it's so exciting to kind of see Doctor Who on Blu-ray, which I kind of thought, I know it's kind of a silly thing to say really, but I kind of thought they probably won't get to Blu-ray just yet because they've only just released the DVDs, but it's lovely that they're all being released in these wonderful box sets. Is it, I guess you're kind of feeling as though you're kind of keep on, I've lost where I've gone. Blu-rays, there we go. What are some of your favourite, what are some of your most cherished memories of working on until today?
Was I in Doctor Who? Has your Blu-ray come out?
Well, I got, that's now, isn't it? I've got, I think season 19 is out.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I think I was on the sofa with Mark Strickson.
Oh yeah, I think you were on the sofa with Mark Strickson, but let's not talk about that in public. It's interesting. What's the most interesting thing is that, of course, Blu-ray quality is better than the quality that the program was actually recorded in. So I questioned when I first heard about this why they were even releasing them on Blu-ray, but apparently the quality, they've managed to do something with the quality and making it really very good. And the main thing is that we do extras, you know, so on season 19 we went back to one of the locations that we filmed at, and now I'm doing some extras for the next season, season 20, which involves me driving to Germany. Don't ask me why. They just thought it would be a good idea to send me to Germany with GoPros in the car.
What, did you make a story in Germany? Did you make a story in
No, not at all, but we're going to a convention in Germany in a couple of weeks' time. So they said, and Janet Feely and Sarah Sutton are going, so we're driving there. Can you imagine what it's going to be like, driving with Janet Fielding?
Oh, right.
It's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah. So whereabouts in Germany? Is it Kassel or?
Yeah, Kassel, yeah.
Oh, right. It's quite a long way.
Yeah, it's a long way. Yeah.
So it's not kind of a spin-off from Top Gear then?
It's a very similar thing, yes. It'll be, I don't know which one of the three you're suggesting I am, but...
The best one?
Well, I guess the little one will be Janet, wouldn't it? Would it be Janet? Anyway, it'll be fun. I think probably we will descended into just screaming at each other by the time we get probably across the channel, actually. But anyway, so it's fun doing the. All I'm saying is a lot of the appeal of the Blu-ray box sets are that we will. Have you done anything yet?
Yeah.
The extras, isn't it?
Yeah.
The extras. Right?
But it's funny, Top Gear. You mentioning Top Gear or someone? No, you meant. Well, anyway, because when we did the Five-ish Doctors reboot, people loved it so much they kept saying to us, "Well, do another one, do something else." And I was thinking, I thought actually the three of us could have taken over in Top Gear, and I would have been the young handsome one, the little handsome one, really. And well, we know who Colin would be.
It's never too late, we've got the 60th coming up in about 3 years.
So, actually saying that, there's something I wanted to mention. You've got, are you taking apart one of the cookbooks for the
Yes, we've done some. Oh, yes, we've done some recipes from the original cookbook. Except I didn't, because my recipes were in the day hamburgers. I'm now vegetarian. An alcoholic drink, which we weren't allowed to do, and cheesecake, and Colin was coming to eat the food and he's allergic to cheese. So that was going well. So I did an update of it and did, 2019 cheesecake, which is like salted caramel and vegan. So, but it's still fun.
You actually put a vegan in the cake.
I did, and they were very willing. And then I put them in the freezer afterwards. Yeah, and they're still there.
She'd love to see that.
So, one of the ones that are coming out, is it fairly soon? You've got yours, is it on 26th, that's out as well?
Is it coming out on 26th of December?
I think.
Oh, no, see, no, I keep...
Which one it is now?
Oh, I had... Someone told me yesterday it was coming out on the 27th of December, I think, which is weird. I'd heard it was coming out on the 23rd, which is also weird because there's only one day to buy it before Christmas.
It was originally going to come out on the 23rd of November, which is somebody's birthday. And then they've put it back a bit. And there is a screening at the BFI, I think, on the 23rd.
Has anyone got tickets to the screening at the BFI?
It is the 23rd of November, isn't it? Yeah. I'll put that in my diary, make sure I'm going. But yeah. But it was amazing to do the additional content, and I think it's such fun because we all know each other so well from conventions, and we've kind of interloped into other people's seasons as well. So, for example, as I was saying, Mark and I went and watched Peter's first season, and it was great because I'd sort of forgotten. I mean, I was at university when your first season came out, so I didn't get to see many of them. And it took me a little while, because what they do, maybe this is a spoiler, but never mind, you don't see the whole of the story if you're doing the sitting on the sofa bit, the goggle box bit, because of course that would take hours and hours and days. But nobody had explained that. So Mark and I were watching your first story, and I was thinking, I usually understand Doctor Who more than this, because of course what they were doing, they'd edited some scenes together and they were jumping through the story, and I was like, so what happened there with that? And I couldn't make head or tail of it. I thought, I'm sure I remember understanding these sorts of things. Anyway, then they explained that we were actually only seeing selected highlights, but it was great fun, really brilliant to watch somebody else's Doctor Who that we've never seen before. Have you done any of the City? You did our City also, didn't you?
Yes, I did. But I was just thinking, you know, that you watching it like that. I did Dan Freeman. It was a sci-fi audio one of those ones. I don't know if you know, Minister of Chance. And he sent me the final CD, and another actor, a friend of mine, Dave Hill, and I, we put it in the machine to listen to it. And it was, we couldn't make head nor tail of it. It was so avant-garde. It was here, there, everywhere. And it got so bad. And then, so I was phoning him up to ask him to explain what it was all about. And I realised there was a button on my player that does random. So he was jumping all over the place, but it was kind of, that's where it sounded like your thing.
When you sit and watch someone else, I've not done this, but when you sit and watch someone else's, do you feel obliged to be nicer about the programme than you would do if you were watching one of your own stories? Because what I like about sitting and watching a story that I was in is that you just feel quite happy about going, well, that's ridiculous. I mean, look at that terrible set. And oh my God, I was terrible in that scene. But presumably when you're watching someone else's, you can't really do that. You're a bit more obliged to go, oh, that was good.
Well, I hope so. You can watch mine then, please. Because when I was watching mine, I was I used to hide behind the sofa when I came on.
Yeah.
So it was a pain just to have to go and watch me again. I didn't really enjoy it. Sophie was always saying, "Yeah, that was good. You were good." I was going, "Was I?"
I don't think Janet held back on much.
No, she'd be really honest.
Was Janet watching someone else's?
Mine was ours.
Oh, did she? So she was quite brutal, was she?
Yeah.
Well, that's Janet.
Annika rang me up about a week before. It was Annika and Janet and Sarah watching ours. And Annika rang me up and she said, "Darling, I don't mind anyone knowing this, but I'm going rather deaf. And so I'm very worried that I won't be able to hear."
She said she didn't want people to know this. Oh, didn't mind. Oh, I thought, sorry.
No.
It is, I'm going deaf, you see, I didn't quite hear it properly.
No, she didn't mind. She said, "Would you," and I've been asking for your episodes so that I can watch them in advance so that I know what they're about. "Would you mind ringing and finding somebody who can send them to me?" So I rang around, but apparently that didn't happen. So there's Annika sitting there not being able to hear, apparently. There's Janet there not holding back, and I think Sarah is kind of like mediating in the middle, so it should be quite fun, that. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, well, you can tell me all about it.
I want to quickly talk about the season 26 trailer that came out a couple of weeks ago. It was a couple of weeks ago, where we saw we saw Ace and we saw a child's worth, and there's a few little pieces of kind of alluding to kind of what happens in something else that we'll get to in a bit, which is Big Finish stuff and what happens afterwards. Is it quite exciting to come back for even a little kind of teaser trailer to kind of bring in a little more? Because I feel as though, sorry to bombard you with statements, because I think a child's worth walked up in, was it Class? I think. I was in Sarah Jane Adventures. Is it quite exciting to kind of jump back into a character, to kind of jump back into that which isn't within the confines of the series, as it were?
Yeah, it was great. When I first, it was Pete McCoy who wrote an episode from Jodie's last season called Kablam, which was...
I thought it was the best episode.
Wasn't it great?
I loved that one, yeah.
It was
really
sort of like a kind of Amazon warehouse, wasn't it?
Is that Big Finish?
No, it was the Jodie Whittaker's
last season.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. And it was really good, wasn't it? And Pete emailed me a while back saying, "Oh, I'm writing the trailer and directing the trailer for the season 26. Can I send you a script?" Which he did. And I have to say, I clicked on it and opened it up and had a good cry because it was so moving. And when we came to make it was amazing. They found this. The place where we filmed it was actually this office building overlooking the Tower of London. atmospheric because they waited till the sunset, and then I was just sort of standing there looking mournfully out of the window, and the voiceover was so brilliantly written. I thought it was really so emotional, and at the end when we finally the final shot I did was where I turned into camera and say "Wicked," and we finished, and Pete said, there was complete silence, and Pete said, "It's a wrap," and everyone was because it was very emotional. So yeah, it was based on the idea that Ace has established this charity called A Charitable Earth, and yeah, it felt a shame that it wasn't going to continue, you know. So yeah, it was great, really good.
I think people who have seen that trailer as well, I think we've all had a little cry as well. I think it was quite amazing to kind of pop up on our news feed for Blu-ray trailer as well. For Blu-ray trailer for a little.
My oldest son came downstairs when I said, "Oh, there's this trailer," and about an hour or so later he came downstairs and said, "Oh, Mum, it's trending on YouTube." And I said, "What's that?" I didn't even know what that meant, but it went completely, and my Twitter went completely nuts. So I think so many people around the world watched it.
So quickly, because we'll go and grab some questions in a sec. But very quickly, Big Finish. They've just had a 20th anniversary. Big Finish is great. Anyone who hasn't listened to any of the Big Finish Doctor Who and Expanded Universe audio dramas, please do, because they're so wonderful to kind of see and hear all of your characters in the kind of expanded universe. Have there been any particular stories that you feel, thank you for doing that, thank you so much for doing that, because you weren't able to kind of get to it in the series at all?
For me, I think that there's two. There's Perry and the Piscon Paradox and Widow's Assassin, because Widow's Assassin follows on straight after the end of the television series, which always left the question, if Perry is married to Yokanos, why doesn't the Doctor go and make sure she's all right? Because that's a pretty weird thing for her to do, and maybe she didn't do it willingly. But it answers the questions, and it goes on from that point, and it actually shows the Doctor as this wonderful hero as to what he's actually done. So I was very grateful that was kind of cleared up, although it turns out that Perry's life is such a disaster. All of her lives are total disasters, but there we go. She's long suffering. But it was lovely to have that story follow on straight from the series.
I can never remember which is which, really.
Oh yes, I agree.
Yeah, because you don't, when you make the TV series, you learn the words and you rehearse it for 10 days, but so they just sort of, they're all good, I think, very good. I like the Legacy of Time, was that right? The books,
The latest one, yeah.
Yeah, that was good, wasn't it? I think that's the one where I got to argue with my own daughter, I think. So that was fun. But the lunches are good too.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we make it, quite often they'll book people who'll take the job because the lunches are really good. So that's silly, we're actors, we're always hungry.
Yes, I just finished one, because I can never remember what they've done, because as you say, you get the script, you mark it up, you come in, you say it. I mean, what I do love about them is that I'm the same height as Peter, and the set doesn't shake. That's the really, I'm 40 years younger. So I really love doing it for that reason, but I can never remember what they are. But I did one recently, which I think is I really did love doing it, but I can't tell you about it because I only did it recently and it hasn't come out. But that's the one I would really, I'm looking forward to listening to.
it's really nice going back to doing them with Bonnie, isn't it, Sylv? Because
yeah. I mean, Bonnie. I don't think Bonnie was ever happy in the TV Doctor Who's because she was underused, and she got the job because she was a great screamer. Because what happened was that she was in Alton Towers doing a charity thing with the producer of Doctor Who, sitting in the same screaming thing, and she screamed and screamed, and of course we remember her as a child screaming and screaming, and so that's how she got the job, and she hated it. But now on audio she's great. She's been able to develop her character, and also I think for Colin as well, it's been a great thing for him, the audios, because he's one of the most popular doctors now, I think, on audio, which is, wonderful, because, he had a bad time when, I believe, so I've heard.
I've spoken far too much here. If it's okay with you guys, I'm going to open up to the audience out here. I might need to kind of run into the audience now. So, have you got any questions?
A story. So for a 4-parter, it would take about a month. Is that right?
yeah, we'd go to the rehearsal studios in a place called North Acton, which was a sort of big office block, which had these huge rooms about, well, probably the size of up to that partition there, and the floor would all be marked out with bits of tape. And do you remember the metal poles on stands? And they would denote various bits of furniture or corners that you were running around. And we'd rehearse there. We'd do a read-through first around the table, and then rehearse for a week or 10 days. And then at the end of that 10 days, everybody knew their lines and what they were doing. And there'd be...
What did you just say?
Well, some people knew their lines, and then the...
Sophie, she knew my lines. That was great work with Sophie, because I'd say, what do I say now? And she knew them. That was at the beginning. At the end, she caught my illness. She couldn't remember her own lines either.
But I think that was part of our job, don't you, Nicola? Yeah.
I always knew Colin's lines, and I think Peter's, because I didn't need to know them for him. You learn them automatically, because your brain is young. And they just
couldn't learn it now.
Yeah, no way. I'm lucky to know my own.
But then at the end of that rehearsal period, there'd be a producer run, and John Nathan Turner would come in and walk around with the director. And the director, it was really weird, would come up to your face to show where the camera was going to be. So you were acting away, and then you'd get somebody's hand just coming in your face like this. And then we'd go off to television centre or go off on location for a few days, and then we'd come back and do another bit. But yes, it used to take about a month to do a story.
What was great about those rehearsal rooms was there was a canteen in the very top, and
We're back to food.
when top of the pop was on, we all looked forward to lunch as Pam's people would come and eat. Do you remember that? Legs and Co was that? Alright, I think I had Pam's people.
You did used to meet very interesting people. So I remember having lunch with Emma Thompson up there when she just started, and all sorts of, you'd get, well, I remember we met Paul Chuckle a couple of weeks ago in Doncaster, and he was saying how he and his brother, the Chuckle brothers, they'd be sitting there, and it was a bizarre mixture of people, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, we've got a question over here. Hello.
What was your favourite episode to be filmed?
I don't have a favourite episode. To me, that's like the favourite children thing. Because the minute you say that one, then you realise you do love that one. So I just really love doing every minute of it, which sounds like a really boring answer, but it was also the truth. So I don't have a favourite.
I'd like to say that, first of all, it was Earthshock. When I first started out, so it was a Cyberman, and we got to blow up Aldred at the end. But then I really liked the last story I did, which was Caves of Androzani, which was written by a classic Doctor Who writer, and I thought it went along pretty swimmingly well. It went downhill in the last 30 seconds, really.
Why was it that?
You don't even get that, you see, they're not up on them. Because I left the series and Colin Baker appeared. So but it was a great story, and a great cast, it was a great script, and Graham Harper was the director, who directed it in a way that, for me, Doctor Who had not been directed before. He moved the camera around and mostly directed from the floor rather than the gallery. So that was a great last experience. But yeah, as I say, Colin turned up, and they had to split my costume so I could fit into it.
Really?
Yeah, I had to put a big V in the trousers. When I came back a few months later to do, was it that Children Need things? I put on the trousers. I thought this was enormously baggy. I like to mention that because it annoys him.
It's funny because when he didn't turn up from the regeneration into me.
That's right, yes.
So when they put me in his costume, they lost me for 3 days. I like to do that because that really annoys him as well.
Okay, we've got one more quick question over here for you guys. We're going to have to unfortunately move on. But,
Hello. My friend Tim is a massive Whovian. He even had a Doctor Who themed wedding. It was pandemonium. The priest said, would anybody have any objections? And a Dalek burst through the door. It was nuts. What's the most extreme Doctor Who fandom you've witnessed in your time?
There's a trend now. I've signed a couple of signatures on people's arms, and then they've gone away and had them tattooed.
Yeah.
So my signature is permanently tattooed on their arm. It's very extreme, isn't it?
That's the story, that's exactly what I was going to say, except in America, this man appeared and the back pocket of his jean lifted up like a flap, and he wanted to tattoo my autograph on his arse. So I had to sign his bottom. And it's where you put your other hand that's the tricky part in that one. I should have done, but I was in shock, I think. It was very difficult because it was a very hairy one too, but you know.
Do we want to know that?
I think they did want to know that. He asked for the extreme ones. So I'm not quite sure how that tattoo will work, but I know the gravity will change the way it looks.
But I heard once that someone made a check out and they signed a cow and the bank gave the money. So I would worry that when you that they have your name tattooed on them, they might go to the bank with their body and have £1 million and take it out of your bank account if you had £1 million.
Well, somebody once threatened to jump out of to open the emergency door of an aeroplane unless I married them. That was a bit extreme.
Yes, I know, you turned me down.
And then the other one, there was somebody I know who's got a date tattooed on their neck, and when I sort of said, oh, what, you know, they said, oh, guess what this is? And I said, I don't know. And they said, it's the day I first met you. I thought, gosh, not even my husband's got that. Especially not my husband.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to wrap this up. Thank you so much for having a chat with us. Please, can you give everyone a big round of applause?